Dear students, welcome to the next lecture of Computer Science and IP. Hope you all are good. Now let's start our lecture. Today's lecture topic is data types. So it is very important topic because without data types we cannot write anything. Actually we cannot create variable and we don't know how to store the values. So this topic is very important. Please take care. Be focused. Thank you. Let's start the lecture. Data types in Python. A data type represents the type of data stored into a variable or memory. The data type which are already available in Python language are called built-in data types. The data types which are created by the programmer are called user-defined data types. There are two kinds of data types on behalf of their characteristics, that is mutable, that we can change, and immutable, that we can't change. Means Python provide two types of data type, immutable data types and mutable data types. So mutable data type, the example of mutable data types is list, and the example of immutable data types is tuple. So here is the list of built-in data types. So the first one is num type, the next one is numeric data types, yeah, numeric type or numeric type, sequence and sets. Now let's start the first one, that is none data type. It is very important. None data type represent an object that does not contain any value. Means if you have any variable and that variable is stored none value, means it is nothing. So in Java it is called null object, but in Python it is called none object. In Python program, maximum of only one none object is provided. None type is used inside the function as a default value of the argument. When calling the function, if no value is passed, then the default value will be taken as none. In Boolean expression, none data type is represent false value. Means if you have a variable, suppose a variable is x and we are storing none, so when we will display the value of x, so it will display false, means 0. The numeric data types. So number of numeric data types are here. Here's the first one, that is int type or int data type. The int data type represent an integer number. An integer number is a number without any decimal point or fractional part. Here is the example. So a is a variable and we are storing one value in, we are assigning one value here. So that is a is a variable and here is the value of a is 10. So 10 is a integer value. One more variable is here, b is equal to minus 15. So the value of b is a negative values. Means int data types support both negative and positive numbers. It can store very large integer numbers conveniently. The float data type represents floating point. The second one is float data type. The float data type represents floating point numbers. A floating point number is a number that contain a decimal points. Here is the example, like the first one 0 0.5, 0 0.5. So it's a fraction, 0.5 is the fractional parts. The next one is minus 3.457. The next one is 290.08. The next one is 0.001. These are the example of fractional part, floating point number. Here one variable num and it is stored a floating point number, that is 123.45. One more variable is here, it is stored exponent value like 22.55 e to the power 3. Means here the value of x is 22.55 into 10 to power 3. So the next one is, that is R3, third one, bool data types. The bool data type in Python represent boolean values. There are only two boolean values, that is true or false, that can be represented by this data type. Python internally support true as 1 and false as 0. For example here num is a variable and it holds true, and one more variable x is holds false. Means when we display the value of num, means here we will write print only num, we will pass num in print function, it will display 0. Same as if we will pass x here inside the print, so it will display 0. So the next one is sequence in Python. A sequence represents a group of elements or items. There are 6 type of sequences in Python. The first one is str, next one is bytes, next one is byte array, next one is list, next one is tuple, and the last one is range. The first one is the str data type. A string is represented by a group of characters. Strings are enclosed in a single quotes or double quotes. For example, here is the example how to store a string. How to store string. So we have already know that a string is represented by a group of characters. Strings are enclosed in a single quotes or double quotes. Here the first example, one variable is here str and it store a string values in double quote. One more example is here str is a variable and it also is store a string value, but it is in the single quote. We can also we can also write string inside triple quotes, like here one more example. So means we can store a string in single quote, double quote, or triple quotes. We can use these quotes for storing the string values. Bytes data type. A byte number is any positive number from 0 to 255. Bytes array can store number in the range from 0 to 255, and it cannot even store it. For example, here is example. Here is the example. AR is the array. AR is the array and it store it look like array, but it is a list. So here is the list values. AR is a list and these are the elements of the list. And you can say because it holds same type of value, so you can say this list behaves like an array. So how to change a list into byte array? So one more variable is here, x byte ar. So here is the byte function will convert list into a byte array. So it is the x is a byte array. Now here is the notation to convert the list into byte array. So how you can convert? So you just use byte function for that. So print x x option, so it will display the 10th position value. Suppose you want to display the 0th position value, so you just pass here 0 and it will display 10. So we can modify or edit any element in the byte type of array. So list data type. List in Python is similar to array in C or Java. So list is like array which is in C and Java. It is same as in Python. So the main difference between a list and array is that a list can store different type of elements, but array can store only similar or same type of element. List can grow dynamically in memory, but the size of array is fixed and they cannot grow at runtime. Means the difference between array and list is that list is the array is of static type and the list is of dynamic type. It cannot grow at runtime. Means array cannot grow at runtime, but in case of list we can add or manipulate the values of list. So here is the example. One example is here. See the example. So list here is the list and it holds different type of values. So it's a facility of the list. We can store different type of values because here is a string and numeric both type of values. The next one is tuple. Tuple is just like a list, but the difference is what we cannot change. We cannot perform changes in tuple. That's why we can say it is a immutable data type and list is a mutable data type. A tuple contains a group of elements which can be different types. The elements of tuple are separated by commas and enclosed in parentheses. It is not possible to modify the tuple elements. For example, here is the example. Here a tuple, it is also look like list because we can store different type of values, but the difference is what the values cannot modify at runtime and it will store in a parenthesis. In case of list big bracket we have to use. The next data type is the range. The range data type represents a sequence of numbers. The numbers is the range are not modifiable. Means we cannot change the number of a range. Range is used for repeating a for loop for a specific number of times. Here is the example. Here is the example for r is a variable and we are using 10 range. Range will display the number from 0 to 10. It will store the value and it will display the value 0 to 9 because the syntax is the syntax of range is start comma in comma step. So it start will display the first number, which number you assign first, so it will display the start position. Now the next number is the last number, and the value will display last minus 1. And if you want to increase the value, so it will you can use the step value. So here there is no step value and there is no start and end, so we will use start by default 0. So range as a for and the loop is here for I in r. So r is 10, so it will start from 0 to 9. So print I 0 to 9. This code will generate numbers from 0 to 9. So here is the output. The above code produce the output like this: 0, then line change 1, then line change 0 to 9, like this only accordingly. One more example here which I just told that what is the syntax behind range. So range, here is the here is the start value, end value and step value. So here the value of r is 30, uh, starting from 30 and end with last minus 1 means 39. So for I in range, print I, so it will display 30 first, then it will increase 2 because step value is 2. The 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, it is the output. The next one is sets. A set is an unordered collection of elements, much like a set in mathematics. The order of elements are not maintained in the sets, and the elements may not appear in the same order as they are entered into the set. A set does not accept duplicate elements. There are two subtypes in sets. The first one is set data type, the next one is frozen set data type. To create a set, we should enter the elements separated by commas inside curly braces. The example of set is dictionary. For example, here is the set, here is one set. Yes, curly braces we are using here, and here when we print the value, so it will display the same value of the list. Thank you. Now the data type is finished here. Please make the notes and keep study, don't go anywhere. Thank you.